Sports and sports lovers, this is your right time that we're going to have a very wonderful chat and discussion on UBC Ground Zero. Today we're going to discuss Ugandan football, we're going to discuss the African football, and we're going to discuss World Cup 2022 FIFA World Cup. It's a very interesting topic that I believe we're all going to enjoy, and I'm going to have different conversations with different stakeholders in this very important aspect. 2022 Federation International Football Association, that is FIFA World Cup, is an upcoming men's international association football tournament contested by the national teams. You must know that this is the 22nd edition of FIFA World Cup competition, and it is going to take place in Qatar from 20th November, which is tomorrow. It is starting tomorrow and it is going to end on 18th December 2022. This will be the first World Cup to be held in the Arab world, and not forgetting that Asia had it some time back, where it took place in South Korea and also in Japan. This tournament is going to last for only 29 days, starting tomorrow up to 18th December, and I'm glad that the people are much excited and are willing to be part of this world-changing game. Because Qatar, intense summer, heat and the humidity, the World Cup of 2022 is going to be held in winter, because the first tournament, because in Qatar, are not held in May and June and July as most of people expected, but it's going to take place in winter. We are glad as Africans that we have some representatives who have been raising a flag high as Africans, and we have Cameroons, the Morocco, Senegal, Tunisia, Ghana, that have been representing Africa, or they're going to represent and have been representing Africa in most games and in World Cup. And we're glad that this time they're also in Qatar World Cup, and 5 of them have appeared, and we are praying for them to have the best results. In the studios of UBC, it's a very big privilege and honor that I have a sports expert and analyst, a man whom I've known for many years to be the expert and a great politician, but when it comes to sports, you would love to spend entire week, not even a month, but every day with him discussing sports. The man I'm talking about is Dr. Christopher Rwanga. Most welcome to UBC Ground Zero.
Thank you very much, Comrade Harmony, for hosting me and trying to put Uganda on the forefront of football in relation to our national game and to World Cup.
Interesting.
Yes.
A big privilege to have you on this program.
Of course, good greetings from the party president, Honorable Jimmy Akena.
I knew
and,
you had to.
And the fraternity
of UPC.
Of UPC from the Secretariat.
Interesting.
6th floor Uganda House, plot number 8 to 10, Kampala Road.
Wow. Most welcome to UBC Ground Zero at Nile Avenue.
Yes.
I knew you had to send those greetings. I know you're so passionate about UPC. But did you have a team as UPC?
UPC as a political party, we don't have a direct team, but we support teams.
Okay.
Our founding father was a great supporter of Arsenal Football Club. This is Dr. Apollo Milton Obote.
Okay.
Then when he was in Zambia, he was a great supporter of Cabo Warriors Football Club, which is run by Railways Corporation. Then you find other UPC members, they are very passionate with their teams. Honorable Jim Akena, the party president, is for Manchester United.
Interesting.
And of course, we don't leave behind Uganda Cranes.
Okay. And which team do you support?
Yes.
If President Jim McKenna is for Manchester,
Yes.
which one is for you?
For me, my team is Chelsea.
Interesting.
In
Why?
England, in Africa, unfortunately, in Africa, I have three.
Three of them.
Yes, three of them. And I have
That is-
reasons. One is Uganda.
Interesting.
Two is the former KK11, which is Chipolopolo. They are my in-laws. They are our in-laws.
Ah,
I
interesting.
can't leave them aside.
Those play from?
And they play very good football. Then the third one,
That is the team from?
is Zambia national team.
Oh, yes.
Mm.
They are
And
Kayendes.
yes.
Mm.
The Zambia national team, the Chipolopolo. At club level, it is Cabo Warriors and Mighty Mufulira Wanderers I support from Zambia.
Wow.
Then within the continent, I go for Indomitable Lions of Cameroon. Though of late, they are not sparking. Okay. Then outside the Africa, my club was always Bayern Munich, but I shifted to Chelsea. And the
After
Germany
being
national
defeated?
team.
Or you had some other reason?
Chelsea has a very good soft spot for African players. They normally excel. They normally do better. They're at home there.
Okay.
At times, you can even field 4 of them. So it pulled me a bit.
Interesting.
Yes.
I'm much privileged to be part of this interesting discussion. We're discussing sports and specifically Ugandan sports, Africa, and World Cup. We cannot let a World Cup go out of our lips. Also in this discussion, we're also going to engage. It's a very big privilege that UBC has been given that free to air or that slot to broadcast World Cup from the time we start tomorrow up to 18th December, and we're going to be talking to different managers of radios of UBC to assure the people of Uganda how we're going to do this from border to border, city to city, every corner that you are in Uganda, but also in the East Africa where our frequencies and waves can reach, and we're going to give you World Cup right in your house, wherever you are, just to be part of UBC. And we're going to be broadcasting all the matches from tomorrow. We are assuring you that we are giving you all the matches from Qatar up to the time they end. Allow me start like this. that this is not a musical or entertainment program, but anything that has information that educates and informs and inspires the people of Uganda, we always give it a priority to play it. And I had to play the Better Together. Higher Higher is the song by the American singer Trinidad Cardona and Nigerian singer Davido and the Qatar singer Aisha. It is the first single of the Malt Song 2022 first FIFA World Cup official soundtrack, and this very track that I just played was produced by the Red One and was released on 1st April 2022. It is the official soundtrack and named Higher Higher Better Together. Indeed, we are better together when the sport, and I've always said and heard that football is one item or subject that brings the people together, regardless of the age, tribe, color, nationality. And this is, I think, best for the Qatar. Better, we are better together is the FIFA World Cup 2022 official soundtrack. That's why I had to play it in the first minutes of UBC Ground Zero to open our program today as we discuss Uganda football, African football, and World Cup. When we talk about World Cup, many people think of Brazil, which has harvested fruits of World Cup 5 times. This is interesting. German has 4 titles, has taken 4 titles. Italy has 4 titles. Argentina 2, France 2, Uruguay 2, England 1, Spain 1, and I don't know when Africa we're having this. Topic of the day: strides taken towards attaining world-class football teams in Uganda. How best do you think we can put forward and correct all the efforts and energies to make sure that we attain the world-class football teams in Uganda? When we see Cameroon, Morocco, and Senegal participating in different tournaments and their players being taken to other countries, it is a lesson and a question to us as Ugandans: when are we having our flag raised in as far as World Cup is concerned? Let me start from there before I engage the managers of our radio stations to enlighten us about how they are going to be broadcasting. Doctor, Ugandan sports.
Yes, please.
Ugandan football.
Yes, please.
Are we there?
Come again?
Ugandan football.
Yes, please.
Not far from the others that you've been mentioning, the Moroccos, the Cameroons. What is that special thing that they have that we don't have as a country, and the Uganda Cranes?
I think when you talk about African powerhouses like Morocco, Nigeria, Ghana, and any other, at one time we were at par with Uganda Cranes. I think even in the last tournament, in the tournament where Uganda performed very well in 1978, we humbled the Green Eagles of Nigeria 2-1, and we humbled, I think, Morocco 3-1. Okay? But our fortunes went down due to some problems we had in the country, and these problems can erupt anywhere. There were political problems which were not well handled, like the way we saw Nigeria also in the mess. Cameroon in the mess, Ivory Coast in the mess. So we got caught up somewhere. But if it was not for that, we had set the bar very high that North African teams were struggling to beat us, whether at club level or at the national level. That trajectory, that direction we are taking, if it had not been ambushed by the unfortunate civil war which reigned in from 1981 to 86, and it continued still to 90, we could be in a position to patch up a good team which can lift. However, I can give you a signal which shows some good things. During the time of COVID period, our under 20 team managed to play qualifying rounds from this region. Then he went for the finals. I think they were either in Mauritania or somewhere. And our team managed to battle the group stages, quarter-final, semi-final, and reached the finals. Only to lose to our perennial masters, the younger Black Stars, 2-0. And if it was not for COVID restriction, the younger cranes, all the hippos, the under 20, would have gone for World Cup, would have featured in the World Cup. That was going to be a window. And that shows you that we had managed to overcome the opposition from North Africa, West Africa, to reach that far, only to be grounded in the finals by Ghana. So, in a way, I have to give credit to FIFA for having managed to set that bar and to give us that hope. And of course, the government and other people who came in, because under 20 team depends on the club. What have the club done to prepare those boys? Now, again, very interesting, which the listeners should note, the same team in the frame of under 20, but this time it is a different set of players. In Khartoum, they managed to lift the East and Central Challenge Cup. Now they have qualified again for the very finals to be played in Algeria. If they can reach the semi-final, then we are there already in World Cup. It is not easy to start World Cup at senior level. You have to start it from age limit tournaments. This is where Ghana has excelled, Nigeria has excelled, and of recent, we have new entrants like Gambia, even a bit of Rwanda. They have also known that your overall performance depends on age limit tournaments. We had taken long to understand it here, but now we have understood it. A credit goes to the FIFA president, Engineer Magoga, and his team for having focused and started working it out. Age limit tournaments are not very easy because their success comes mainly from the previous tournaments of underage teams. So that means that this time, to have a better under 20 team, we did homework with under 12, under 15, under 17, such that it progressed. Our biggest challenge will be, as a country, through FIFA as its agent, can we nurture that cream? In Africa, they have a tendency of disappearing somewhere. They start so brilliantly, they start so wonderfully, and they disappear somewhere. So how do we hold the families, the society, to nurture that? Because that one can be automatic replacement of cranes, and where you can have owners. So I'm very happy that we have qualified under 20 to Algeria for the finals. If God is with us and we make it top 4, we are already in world competitions.
Let's look into the management of the national team. Are you comfortable with it? Do you see any fruits coming sooner or later?
Yeah, I think when it comes to the management...
Because I believe management is the head of the entire structure. When the head is not that perfect, then we expect the entire structure not to perform better.
I think when it comes to the management of national team...
From the ministry to FIFA to the coach to the... up to the last person.
I think when it comes to the management of national team or even clubs, I must commend the government. Government, through its agency FIFA, they have come up strongly to give guidelines to various clubs on how to professionalize their clubs. Now, this professionalizing of a club is not an easy thing. You must have a qualified coaches with certain grades. You must have a certain pool of players registered on time with their contracts worked out and signed on time. Then if it is in our premier, in our top league, you must develop a youth team as well. FIFA has tried to see that most teams manage that. And indeed, most teams now are managing that. Those which fail on last moment, they're even given a bit of grace period. Once they can't beat it, they can miss their participation in the league. It is not easy to achieve that, but starting it and laying a foundation, it gives instant results, which instant results can help now in having a balanced national team at whatever level. For instance, take an example of the clubs like KCCA, which have invested and followed the FIFA guidelines together with Vipers. They are reaping. KCC is having its own stadium, and KCC of late participated in group stages of clubs championship and of confederation championship. Then of course they had their own issue when I think they fell out with one of their enterprising coaches who doesn't fear to take risks. This is Mutebi Maike. By the way, Maike was my student at Namilyango College, and I may claim that I was one of the initial people to train him the real scientific football. So wherever Mike Mutebi you are here, your former games master, Mr. Rwanga Christopher, has quoted you openly in the media. We worked very closely in Namilyango to try to transform this football. He was a captain whom I could give several tasks. So I'm not even surprised that he has reached very far. Then, of course, as the KCC came up with that model was paying off. You could see that KCC, apart from having talented players, they are very much technical, and there is a type of a game they are playing, or they can change systems. This helps us if you have a success story back at home. Others can look at it and see where they can borrow ideas. Then from there, we have had this experience of Vipers also saying, KCC has done it. Let us also try to emulate KCC, and we see how we can move. The good thing is that FIFA now is working closely with the FIFA, the mother sports body. And then from there, things drop to the Ministry of Education and Sports, where I'm not very much comfortable with the Ministry of Education and Sports. They have, for a good number of years, they have over-invested in academics at the expense of sports. So having over-invested in academics at the expense of sports, they have almost phased out sports from the curriculum. And now they have made sports to come as an event during the sports day. This one is now hurting us. And it will hurt even our performance at national level, our performance at club level, because we are depending on the student in order to boost our game. We are depending on the pupils to boost our game. But now, the pupils are more in a classroom and very early and knock off very late. There is no time for sports. Okay? And when the sports is coming in, it comes in towards the end of the term, and it is not natural, because sports has to be there from the first day you report to school to the last day you leave school. So the Ministry of Education and Sports has to harmonize that. And in the process of harmonizing, of trying to do a specific timetable suitable for the younger ones, they should reduce on this academics, which makes up younger ones to wake up by 5, by 6, and they have a sober timetable, okay, which can give them freedom, can not tire the brains very much, can create room where you can really have your time for sports. That one, we need to do it. The ministry can work it out with the Ministry of Health. Actually, the Ministry of Health should advise them, because the way they have gone to academic, that is not very normal. It is abnormal. They have to reduce on the academic road. They have to spare time for other activities, especially sports. Then, as we are looking at the sort of strides which we can make to make us compete, still the government has to work it out through the Ministry of Education and Sports, together with its agencies in various schools. These issues of sports facilities, of sports training and competition, they need to start early, and we need to invest in it massively. I will give you an example which you may not appreciate so much, but it adds value to what I'm saying. By the time we got independence on 9th October 1962, we lacked manpower in each and every field. But in the process of catching up to get that manpower, we resolved to train people domestically and to take people abroad. Now, the people we took abroad, we had to get them in advance and orient them, train them how to use the utensils on the table, train them how to use waterborne toilets. And the training was at Insamis. Before you fly out, that is the, yes.
They had to go through that orientation.
Yes, they had to go through that orientation. How you communicate to the to the European you meet. Okay? That is where we are coming from.
It took you time.
Yes, it took us time. Okay?
And resources.
Resources. Okay? Time and resources. And we needed those people to go and train in various fields and come back. Even to teach them that there is winter, this is how you should dress. Okay, so we had to go through all those things. Okay, now, if we had to go all through those things, look back to our sports departments in the university, in the colleges, in the schools. Have we really improved on the facilities? We haven't improved on the facilities. Now the biggest challenge we are having now, most teams are playing football on artificial turf. We are lucky that Chitende is having one, and there is this one in Injeru. Okay, but now Kurenis plays more has more games in Kitende, and maybe Nambole is closed, and our real performance when we are on artificial turf, it is not very okay. We are used to natural grass, natural turf. So you can see where now we are. So that means that we need to have as many facilities as possible of artificial turfs and offer our people opportunity to use them. Okay, so you find that here now the government has to close its eyes and see how best it can positively contribute to having most of these facilities. I think they can do better if, for instance, they empower the Bata, that Bata now make more sports facilities and make it as cheap as possible. You can't run away from it. And of course, appreciating that sports now is a huge industry. If you invest in it, you reap after some time. So I'm very happy that FUFA is coming in to borrow a leaf from the parent body and trying to bring in these things piecemeal because of the resource package. But of course, bringing in those issues piecemeal helps a bit for others to pick it up. Then I would also love to see that as the government talks of investors to come in industry, to come in Namamve, to come where, also the government should move up to get these local investors and external investors in sports and put some sort of incentives such that people realize. Now you find a country like DRC.
Dr. Ranga.
Yes, please.
Every investor, the primary role to invest in a certain economy or country, their first aim is to get their money back.
Yes, please.
Do you see any investor, whether local or foreign, getting their money if we invest in the Ugandan sport or sports sector?
I think the model I can use is of TP Mazembe. TP Mazembe has a giant, Mr. Moses Katumbi. Moses Katumbi, with his TP Mazembe, they are based in Lubumbashi. But they have understood this secrecy, that once you invest in sports, with the time it starts paying dividends. Forget about the passion. Now, TP Mazembe man looks at all DRC players with a better CV and incorporates them in his team. Then he looks at a continental level. Who is the best in Uganda? Who is the best in South Africa? Who is the best in West Africa? And he tries to get to those people. Then he looks for a good coach who molds them into something very, very important. He will not hesitate to sell a player you have liked. Because there is now a language of talking in terms of millions. Now, you tell me, which red product do you have which you can readily sell 10 million, 20 million, 30 million? There is no such a red product. But with the footballers, you find that it makes sense. And to produce a footballer to reach that level, where Katumbi sells them, or TP Mazembe sells them, all our Viper boss, it doesn't consume as much as 10 million in preparing such a type of a player. You only need to play very hard, that you appear, let me say, at group stages. Let me say, Krenis, Chan, you appear there. And your players do that technical thing even in a minute. A minute can give you a professional contract. They don't look at 90 minutes. They look at that special technical skill you have exhibited.
Oh, that's what they buy.
Okay. So I would still imagine that if our government came in and led by example and tried to convince investors, they will still come. And trust me, there is no way you can go wrong with the football once you decide to follow it in a scientific way. Not haphazard like the way we used to do it in our villages. You decide to play today, tomorrow you don't play. What? No, we should shift from there and we try to make it more professional. I would tell you that sports, once the government discovers, it will even overshoot this coffee production we are on with uncertainties of climate.
Are you sure we can get more money in sports?
Yes, we can get more money.
Than in minerals?
We can get more
than
money.
In coffee?
We can get more money. Because you see, an average, how
Vipers,
much...
Vipers Express are privately owned. How come we have not reached that level?
We have not pushed up to that level because of where we are coming from. We are coming from a very big crisis. But now we are happy that Vipers has made it with a model which is almost an equivalent of European sides.
Oh, sure.
Now, it is our people now to go to Mulindwa and Vipers. How have you achieved this model? And he reveals the secret. When I was researching a bit about this model, apart from Mulindwa being so keen in sports, okay, he made sure that he is having a school which is part of his team. And having a school which is part of his team, it meant that he's having a number of younger stars. And he was determined to groom those younger stars and even loan them out or sell them out, which is doing. And if you look around now in the Uganda League, most of the teams are having players who have passed through Mulindwazi, either Chitende school or Vipers. Now from there, a moment Mulindwa produced a Mia, he's not going to hold on Frank Mia. He's going to sell him. And any money that comes, it is easy to divert it to developing his stadium. And also to be competitive enough that he can go on the market and get a top Brazilian coach, get a top Portuguese coach. Even at one time, he got hold of my former games master, who also helped me a lot, Mr. Eddie Butindo, Mbadia. Okay, Eddie Butindo, you are very good at working with younger players. Come, because Eddie Butindo, throughout his tenure, he's the one who brought up these people like George Mayanja. He brought up George Nsimbe. He brought up these players of Express, Semogereri. I know there is another one, another younger defender. All those who excelled. So he liked that talent and said, no, Eddie Butindo, come. Now from there, if him is succeeding, it means even others can succeed. Because there is already something to see from. And there is another younger man who was trying it, but I think it hasn't gone very well with him. This is Kasule of a certain club. Things have not worked out very well for him, but he was also trying.
Dr. Ranga.
Yes, please.
Let's look at the coaches. The return of Mitchell.
Pardon?
The return of Mitchell
Yes.
and how he has been training our national team, but we are not even yet. We had so many expectations that this time we may harvest AFCON, but even now we have not qualified up to this time. Do you think we need a better coach? We still need him. Was it wise to have him again and given the 3 years contract again, even we had the same coach?
I think Uganda should not run away from Mitchell.
Do we still need him?
I was
Even when we are not qualifying for AFCON.
I was a bit disappointed when Mitchell was appointed to coach the Zambian team.
Your favorites?
Yes, and things did not go on well for him. Zambians were too impatient, and they never allowed him to develop something. One thing which I can say with Mitchell, he plays, or he trains a team to play a conservative type of a game. First, ensure that your backyard is secure, and then use whatever opportunity which you can create along the way to score, and then you go back to ensure that he's more defensive minded, if we talk the language of football. But you cannot blame him. The time he handled the Cranes, he had those players which can give you a leverage. Okay? Like now, this David Obua, once he's on the pitch, he doesn't have any equivalent. It's David Obua with a special skill, with a special talent. And the way he plays his football is almost the way his late father played the football. You help the team to win. Don't just make yourself a star. And that's why wherever David Obua was playing, player like a Massa were clicking. So it was very easy for Coach Mitchell to do his mathematics very well, knowing that he has those people who can hold the ball, who can do the damage, who can do what. But remember, by the time Mitchell came here to train the Cranes, even the Cranes had more problems. To have an expatriate coach saying, I'm ready to be with you in all these challenges you are going through, is a big credit. And if they are awarding heroes in Uganda, Mitchell should be given the hero medal. By the time now he came in, our team had lost those key pillars. And when you lose a key pillar, it takes almost another good years to replace that key pillar. Remember, if you remember very well, the time we lost Sekaja, the defense has never been the same. Then from there, Onyango, the goalkeeper, also pulled out. Then from there, Massa, one of those goal poachers, pulled out. So Mitchell now came and he found a Cranes which is relatively weaker. It is having less stars. The best he can do is to mold it as a team, and they play together. They try to achieve, and they use his experience with the way he can teach them to play the game. But also, the competition, also you have to understand it. If we are to survive it, we should also look at critically which team have we been given. Some of these teams have covered the ground, and it becomes very hard to just overrun them. Especially me, when we have these competitions, and we are faced with some of these players from powerful leagues. He may not be effective in the entire 90 minutes, but give him an opportunity of 1 minute. He can just damage you. Okay? And for them, because they are experienced and they also have good coaches, they can say, no, we are going to Nambole or to Chitende. Our game should be based on a result of a draw as a start. But if we get an opportunity, we can hurt them. Now, Mitchell has come after, of course, he had gone away and has found when the team is relatively weaker, the old players he used to depend on have retired. So he has to recruit new players and put in that spirit that this is how Uganda Cranes plays. Okay.
This is UBC. We are live on UBC Ground Zero, UBC Butebo, and Magic 100. 776 is the number you have to call and share your views.
We passed it. We didn't know exactly what the problem was on the ground. There is no pretending about the effect of this thing. There's no pretending about it. Nobody's showing. It's a problem.
It's balanced.
This is not the stage at which you start planning to tax a commodity like coffee, especially from down there.
It's intellectually engaging.
The Constitution provides that the land must be registered under the casualty system, which is one of those that's recognized by the Constitution.
Ground Zero Season 2, live and syndicated on your public and national broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Don't miss UBC Radio Ground Zero every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We host credible and relevant guests to discuss pertinent issues of national importance aimed at addressing people's concerns.
As a country, if we don't fight this vice of corruption seriously and with honest opinion without any bias, things will not be good for us.
UBC Radio Ground Zero, right here on UBC Radio.
UBC, ensure that the information you give out is factual but also objective, balanced, and complies with the legal and policy requirements for the media.
Ground Zero program is always live, loud and clear, every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on UBC Radio, Butebo FM, West Nile FM, and Magic 100 FM, and live stream on YouTube. You can also listen to the repeated broadcast of UBC Ground Zero every Sunday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. UBC Radio, inspiring Uganda.
Welcome back. Ground Zero Season 2 continues.
Welcome back from that very short break. This is UBC Ground Zero. We're still broadcasting live on UBC Red, UBC Butebo, UBC Western Nile, and Magic 100 FM. We're also streaming live on YouTube. You just put UBC Ground Zero and you'll be part of this conversation. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we also are live on other platforms. You can always follow us on YouTube. I'm on YouTube. On Twitter, we are UBC Uganda. On Facebook, Radio Uganda, and also on Instagram. We are discussing strides towards attaining world-class football teams in Uganda. In the studios of UBC, I have Dr. Christopher Rwanga. He's the sportsman, he's the sports analyst, and a former games master for those people that have understood him from the past. Ampaire Aman Obtegra is my name, and this is UBC Ground Zero. We're discussing Ugandan football, African football, and also World Cup. Doctor.
Yes, please.
Thank you for that detailed discussion on Ugandan football. But is it possible to have or to attain the world-class football teams in Uganda? Or we still need more time, and we still need prayers, we still need a lot of resources there is a lot that we need. And what is that we need?
I think world-class football, if we are very honest, we can achieve it with junior team, and with the women team.
We have already lost hope for the national team.
When it comes to senior team, there is still a big gap, a big rift. But when it comes to the underage team, we are almost there. So we can have that competitive edge if we don't disrupt the natural flow of this training. I can give you an example. China was about to participate in a certain competition. What they did for their age limit team was to lift it and take it to Brazil. And they stayed there a period of about 2 years. They had calculated when they will be at age at a certain age tournament of under 20. So they took the team there, and the team now got the Brazilian touch. By the time they came back, they were a force to reckon with. But of course, here in Uganda, we don't have such type of resources. We cannot imitate what China did. But since we have now a team which is already there at a competitive level of under 20, it is that team now, together with the upcoming ones, we should give a special care, a special treatment, and we see them through. Okay. Because
interesting.
Our setback, we have not competed in under 23 tournament because of some issues here and there. I think lack of resources. But under 20, we are here. If we guide it properly, the 3 years, they graduate automatically into the senior team. And when they graduate into automatically the senior team, they revamp. They add more more flavor. Why I want to do on this thing very well is that our underage team was invited in Zambia as a guest in a certain tournament, and our players at that time, those who excelled, there is this boy who had gone to Morocco and he returned. I've forgotten his name. Is it Shaban?
Okay.
It should be Shaban.
Doctor, if you may allow me, I have Peter Tai online.
Oh yes, Peter here.
You're most welcome, Peter.
Thank you very much.
A big privilege to have you on UBC Ground Zero today.
Privilege is all mine.
We are discussing Ugandan football, African football, but not forgetting World Cup.
Oh, yes.
Strides taken towards attaining world-class football teams in Uganda. What are those strides that we can take as a country to make sure that we also qualify not for AFCON, but perhaps to also participate in World Cup next year?
Thank you very much. I think the strides can actually be very many, but there are strides that can be attained very quickly, and there are strides that can be attained with time. Because like the saying goes, Rome was not built in one day. So you do not expect to build something very, very quickly and achieve from that something just like that. You have to take some time in order to see how you can actually nurture and develop something that can actually be long-lasting. There is that possibility of making something that can actually come out very quickly. But for me, that something would actually break, and it will take you back to zero. So the possibility of developing something that actually extends further is what we need as a country, as Uganda. There are very many projects that we have actually seen from different countries, and those projects have actually made them sustain themselves until where they are right now as powerhouses of the game. Case in point, if you followed the philosophy that the Dutch have utilized very much, that is what we call total football. It is a kind of a system that was actually brought during the eras of the Johan Cruyff's which was way back from the 60s, 70s, 80s, but it's the same kind of strategy that they're using up to today. That's why you find that the Dutch normally use their system of total football up to today, and it has worked for them. Same case is when you go down to Brazil. Brazil has actually developed a system that they have used from back those days up to today. So those are the strides that different countries are currently taking. There is you going very quickly into something, and that something actually breaks with time. But how do you go into something and then maintain that something to last you a longer time? For me, that is the kind of stride that this country needs.
According to you,
yes.
According to you, how do you see Ugandan football?
Well, Ugandan football is
from the national team to the junior team and other teams down, those privately owned like Vipers, the Express.
I think the game is developing right now. The game is developing. If you actually followed Ugandan football from the 90s, from 1990 up to about 2000 and about 2016, 17. Sorry about that. About 2017, you find that our game had actually gone on a stagnant. We were stagnated in football in a way that we are not going anywhere. Would compete in the African Cup of Nations qualifiers, don't make it. Would compete in the World Cup qualifiers, don't make it. You know, even time came when we would actually compete in Sekafa and we're not making it. That was way back in the 90s and about early 2015, 16 there. But you realize that from the regime change of Lawrence Mulindwa, who actually brought in some bit of clarity into the game, then to Engineer Moses Magogo, you have to give credit to the federation for at least trying to develop the game. The game right now is actually going to the grassroots, because I believe that grassroots football is the future of this country. You cannot only say that we have football teams in town, and those football teams in town are the ones that give you the national team players. We need to go to the grassroots and see how we can nurture and develop the game from the grassroots to where we are right now. I was in Nebi recently, and I was very impressed with the performance of some clubs there, a team called Nebi Central, a team called Ochoko. Those are the two teams I actually managed to watch because I watched them live. And I was impressed with the level of the game, the level of football that the players down in the grassroots are actually displaying.
I also liked the way how Uduparaka came and took over space even when it was not known before.
Exactly. So that's the game. Right now, FUFA introduced a competition called the FUFA Drum. I don't know if you followed it. There is what they call the FUFA Drum competition.
What is that about?
Different regions, where the different regions play. You have the Ankole region, you have the Toro region, you have Teso, you have Acholi, you have West Nile, you have Karamoja, you have Bugisu, you have Busoga, you have Buganda, and Kampala. Over 16 regions.
Is that to identify talent?
That's part of it also. That is part of, but also that is taking the game to the grassroots. You know, that's taking the game to the grassroots. Now, right now, we are in the semi-finals of the FUFA Drum competition. It is a battle between West Nile and the Acholi.
Interesting.
If you remember your history, it is a battle between Gipira and Labong. So it takes us back, it takes us back to the history part of it, where the fans from Acholi had to come to West Nile, give support to their team. Unfortunately, they lost by 1-0, but they can do a revenge on the 10th of next month when the game goes to Gulu. You see? So such competition takes the game closer to the people, in a way that the people of Gulu, the people of Acholi, will actually witness their own
Did you say
right in front of them.
Did you say we're in the semi-finals?
Yeah, we're in the semi-finals right now.
I'm glad to know. I'm interested in knowing when we're having finals. I'm so much interested in this.
Okay. The finals are not yet out because we have first to get the semi-finals off. Because we play home and away. They play home and away. So last weekend, it was in West Nile. Tomorrow, it is in Toro. Toro plays against Lango. Those are the provinces that have qualified for the final. So it's Toro, Lango, West Nile, and Acholi are the teams that have qualified for the semi-finals.
We're going to follow
So the finals will become later.
We're going to follow that.
Yes,
Interesting.
the final- yes.
Allow me also engage you on another important aspect. I know you are a manager of one of the radio stations that are part of UBC, Uganda Broadcasting
Yes, Magic.
Corporation, Magic.
Magic FM, yes.
And we are assured that the country is assured that Uganda is going to be broadcasting World Cup.
Yes.
How are you prepared as Magic?
Well, we are prepared. Let me actually now take this time to talk on behalf of the radios, because I've been the one coordinating the preparations for the radio stations
Interesting.
of UBC. The radio stations are very much ready to actually give you the best of the best, because this is the first time that the World Cup goes to the Arab land. It's the first time that we are having the football going to the desert, and we have all the radio stations of UBC prepared to give you all the 64 matches of this year's edition of the World Cup.
64 matches
64 matches, yes, 64 matches. We begin
are going to be
tomorrow.
live on UBC
live.
radios.
Yes, all UBC radios from Ngeya, Totore, Bundibujo, UBC West, UBC Star FM, UBC Mega FM, UBC Mega 100 FM. We go down to, of course, Magic FM where I am, UBC Radio, all these radio stations, Bundibujo, all these radio stations are going to give you 64 matches of the World Cup. Not forgetting UBC Butebo also, all these radios. And the beauty about this is the upcountry radio stations are going to commentate the games in the local language.
That is
We're not
interesting.
forcing Yes, we're not forcing English on the local, because we believe that since the radio stations have gone to the people there need to actually get the feel of the World Cup in their very own languages.
Recording has now ended.
So basically, we are going to be doing that. We are very much ready, and the action gets underway tomorrow.
Why has UBC been chosen to be given that right to broadcast the matches?
No, you see, the rights for the matches, you bid. It's a bidding process. It's a bidding process. You have to bid in order to actually get the rights. It's not something that comes like cheap. It's not something for free. These are rights that are very, very expensive, by the way.
Sure.
Very expensive. That's the reason as why you find that some television stations cannot afford to actually pay for the right of having football matches like the World Cup. The World Cup is the epitome of world football. It is the creme de la creme of world football. So the World Cup is football is basically $1 million industry. So you have to spend a lot of money in order to enjoy for just a few couple of days.
Okay, thank you, UBC,
Yes,
that you're inspiring and also making sure that the people of Uganda are well served.
Yes, because everybody is waiting for the World Cup. I can assure you,
Including
All
myself.
people- Yes, including you. You're all waiting for the World Cup. You know, we normally promise as UBC, and we actually try very much to deliver. So we promise that this year round we are different.
Okay.
We gave you the African Cup of Nations. People enjoyed the African Cup of Nations. You know, we gave you the Women African Cup of Nations. All this was this year, by the way. The Men's African Cup of Nations, the Women's African Cup of Nations. Now we are going to the World Cup. All in 1 year. We are giving you 3 competitions.
Interesting. What are some of the most exciting things that Ugandans should expect in the 2020 World Cup?
Now, one of the things that Ugandans who are listening to me will experience a lot is, number one, the state of infrastructure that has been put up in Qatar. I normally tell my my listeners when I'm on radio station that I do not only want you to enjoy the game, but I want you to look at the future of football stadiums. The future of football stadium is what you're going to see in Qatar. These guys have built stadiums that are supposed to be stadiums of 10 years before. 10 years ahead. 10 years ahead. That's what they have put here. The cooling system alone is different because, you know, Qatar is a desert. And that's why we are having the World Cup shifted from June, July to November, December. Because,
when it is winter.
November, December is winter and it's cooler, but also it is still hot in Qatar. We have games played at 1 p.m. local time, Uganda time. You get that? So it's going to be hot around that period. But the cooling system that has been put up in these stadiums are so beautiful that you may even forget that it's hot outside. You get? So I want people to look at the infrastructure which has been put up. Then maybe to some extent we can compare with where we are.
Yeah, true.
With where we are as a country. You get that? Because these guys have invested a lot of money. We normally say that sports is not cheap. Sports infrastructure is not cheap. You have to invest a lot of money to get the best. And the guys of Qatar have actually invested a lot of money. So the infrastructure is one of the things we need to look at. The different stadiums, by the way. The stadium that is opening up tomorrow is a stadium that has been built in the form of a tent. A tent.
Sure?
Yeah, a tent. So I want you to watch this. You will see this all on UBC perfectly well. It was built it has been built in form of a tent.
Okay.
Now, you know, the people of Qatar were pastoralists. They used to move up and down. They are nomads moving with their camels. So when they move further away, they actually get a tent, put up a tent, and sleep. Now, that's how the stadium was built. There is a stadium which has actually been built out of recycled plastics. In a way that
Recycled plastics.
Plastics, yes. After the World Cup, that stadium is going to be demolished, and the same plastics are going to be taken somewhere else that will be hosting another World Cup.
Interesting.
So, yeah. So I want us to look at the infrastructure, and you see what the World Cup is totally different from this year round.
These are good lessons that Africans should learn from these exciting events, world events that take place. Peter Tai, you've been known best as the best sports or football commentator, and your audience and the people of Uganda are asking themselves, are you going to be commentating even World Cup?
Yes, I will be commentating World Cup.
Interesting.
I will be commentating World Cup, both TV and radio. So we shall be doing both TV and radio.
Interesting. Your last comment to the people of Uganda who are listening to you right now.
Yeah, I want to thank the people of Uganda very much for their love for sport. It's basically something we try very much to push and advise the parents that let us not only stop our children from engaging themselves in sport. Sport has changed. Sport is no longer a leisure. Sports has become a profession. You might read your books and you might become a lawyer. I might play my football and I become a footballer, but we are all serving one thing. That is to change how we live. So my message to the parents out there, please, let's try very much and engage our children in sport. Sports is the future of this nation. Some nations have been built very well via sport. Nations like America, nations like Brazil, right now the Nigerians are doing very well via sport. We can also change this nation via sport. So let's invest in sport and we shall earn from sport. Thank you very much.
Before I let you go,
yes, please.
My guest in the studios, Dr. Rwanga,
yes, please,
was saying that we need to really to give an award or a medal to Mitchell from where he has brought the Cranes to the level that they are. But my question was, do we need really to give him that medal even when we have not had any trophy?
I don't know which kind of medal, which kind of medal Dr. Rwanga was.
That is one of the Ugandan heroes that we have in the country.
Yes, it is true. Taking Uganda to the African Cup of Nations.
Taking them, taking
for
them.
the very first time since 1978 was to me a milestone for Micho. So why not give him a medal for that? Why not give him a medal for that? Well, Uganda's been to the
And
African
what shall
Cup
we
of
give
Nations.
him if we get the AFCON trophy?
More medals.
Many thanks, Peter Tai, for sparing time to speak to the people of Uganda.
Thank you very much.
We are proud of you and well done, and
thank you.
Keep inspiring the people of Uganda.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
That is Peter Otai, uniquely ours, and is the manager UBC Magical 100 FM, and is also, people call him the African football commentator, and he was sharing his views on UBC Ground Zero. Interesting. Peter Tai also believes that Micho needs to be given that medal. So you have someone seconding you, Doctor.
Oh yes, in football they call it breaking is it the gigs? Yes, it is very difficult to break something. Like now we had gone 38 years minus reaching there. Every time we fell off. Every time we fell off. Now that he brought the confidence that we can reach there. If we don't qualify, we are up in arms. What has happened? We needed to be there again. Okay. So he brought something.
Interesting.
Yes.
Let's cross to, we have been discussing Ugandan football, and you tackled a bit of the African teams and football. But what is the future of African football?
This question now, the future of African football, it will depend on so many parameters.
One,
we need to correct our past mistakes.
As Africans?
Yes. It will shock you. The Indomitable Lions performed very, very well in 1990. And they were promised their bonuses, which I think involved building a house for each player. Now, the benefits had never been paid. It is only recent when they paid the benefits. And when some of even the players are dead. It is the same story which happened to Nigeria. The current president is the one now who has paid out the benefits of the team who each performed very well in 1996. Okay? So, Africa now has to correct its mistakes. On a number of occasions, on key tournaments, you have had our real powerhouses like Nigeria and Cameroon saying we are not playing the next game unless you put our allowances, our payments on the table. That certainly affects the atmosphere in the dressing room and on the pitch. You are struggling for allowances to be paid. Your rivals are just perfecting the techniques they are going to use to overrun you. Okay? So, Africa has to improve on its management. And whether it requires to bring in expatriates to teach us how to manage national teams.
But we have them. If we have the coaches, the Michos and...
the coach you can have is not the one to be inside the FUFA. To do the paperwork, to plan, to do what, is not the one.
So we need the Magogo who is coming from Spain or somewhere, or Brazil.
What I want to tell you, it is so embarrassing when you are going for a tournament, okay? And you are quarreling over money. You are quarreling over allowance. We used it to do what they call Chichuba football. Some villages, some clubs up country
hiring footballers to come and play.
Yes. But before the game starts, they have given you part of your money, which you have put in the stockings. Deposit. And when you perform well, they add on. So you play.
So you go to the pitch when you are sure that you...
Yes. That my sweat has been paid for. Even my injury has been catered for in advance. You get it?
Not going into the game when you are not sure whether they're going to pay you or not.
I don't know whether now the tactic has changed, but we used it to get our money before the game.
I think now it is a crime.
Okay. Now, that means
I think it is punishable to use the chubas, the hired players.
Yeah, for me, what the sort of trick I want to see, that the management, okay, has come in now to arrange things in advance. Okay. And when we are moving such that a footballer comes, when his job is to train to play, he knows that behind his back, family is catered for. He will get something to use. Everything is catered for. His mind is focused. Even when he's taken up country, he has no any burning issue that he has to dash home to look for a family.
So our issue is management.
Yes, we have to improve on the style of management. Like now, the way we are having workshops run by established NGOs. They send you invitation, you reach, you register. They even assure you, they whisper to you as they are reading the ground rules that all the participants please sign. At the end of the workshop, there is lunch and there is a transport allowance.
And they all have to sign.
Yes.
Because you are sure. If
Yes.
you don't sign, there is no allowance.
Yes. So it means that even now when you are seated in the workshop chair, you are looking for two things: to acquire the knowledge and to sign.
But sincerely, Doctor,
Yes.
World Cup started in 1930.
Yes.
This is 2022.
Yes.
About 96 or so years.
Yes.
And we don't qualify even, or we don't have any of the trophies on World Cup.
No, the challenge which has been there for African teams.
Are we bewitched or blessed?
For African teams to qualify are many, but I can summarize them in this manner.
I summarize because our time is
Africa
fast.
started by being given a slot of one team. Then later on they increased it to 2. Then now we are 5, but out of a country of 53. While Europe...
I thought everyone who qualifies goes.
Yes.
This is a slot.
Yes, it is a slot. We are given slots that we are having 5 slots now. This is the biggest number from Africa. Now, to get the best 5, it means you have sacrificed another best 5. Okay. That means that it is
But
a narrow
still,
path.
even the 5 that we were given,
yes,
we are not even performing.
the 5 are supposed to perform, okay? But now, these 5 who have qualified, okay, because of the nature of the game is being played, it depends on the competitions how you have fared. And now they do, there is what they do as seeding. Okay.
Looking at the 5 teams that we have now, Cameroon is not an easy team. Morocco, Senegal, Tunisia, and Ghana.
Yes.
But still,
The biggest
we are not yet
challenge
there.
now we are having is Morocco is a technically good team together with Tunisia. Okay. But the disadvantage or the mistake they make, they don't play an attacking game. They try to respond when they have been scored. Now in World Cup, if you don't attack to score and you go to defend, you lose. That's why when we have our slots and we are being represented by North African countries, I don't normally bank on that World Cup.
why?
Because they play a defensive game. And in World Cup, you have to attack.
Okay.
Now, these are the black teams which represent us in a World Cup. Let it be Nigeria, let it be Ghana, let it be Cameroon, let it be Senegal. From the word go, they are attacking you.
All right.
They are aggressing you. And if you see, they have produced very fantastic results because they take the risk. The only unfortunate thing with the West African teams, the black teams, is that they play too much of a physical game. And when you play too much of a physical game, these silky players who are sophisticated in Europe and South America, they stage dummies that you have unloaded your physical fitness on them.
Okay.
And we concede some technical faults.
Away
Okay.
from qualifying for World Cup,
Yes.
even hosting World Cup,
Yes.
we only see it in is it 2010 when
Yes.
it was in South Africa.
Yes.
We are not there. We are only given 5 slots, and even we are not hosting World Cup. What is the problem?
No, I think we need to give growing tribute to the former president of FIFA. This is the Sepp Blatter and his colleague Michel Platini. They tried to say this is World Cup by definition, and it should be by action. So they took World Cup in 1994 to USA. And when they took World Cup to USA, they still said, no, it is not enough. We can't call it World Cup when it has only been played in Europe, South America, and maybe Mexico, and now USA. We have to extend it further. So this is how now Japan and the South Korea are coming in as joint nations to stage. But still, they were being reminded that this is World Cup. When will Africa time come? So Africa
and I was told even to take it South Africa, it was in recognition of the efforts of Nelson Mandela.
Yes.
So we did not even qualify. It was in appreciation of someone's effort.
Yes, but as South Africa was applying, also Morocco
had applied.
And I think Nigeria at a future date was considering it. Now, the advantage we have now that Africa can host the World Cup, we are more prepared than even.
Which country do you think is most prepared to host World Cup?
Nigeria hosted,
does it have the facilities?
Hosted the underage tournaments and it world stage.
Does it have all the facilities?
Yes, it has the facilities. Nigeria.
Qatar has just put 7 stadiums, well established. Can Nigeria do that?
Nigeria will just need to improve. Nigeria, by the way, hosted under 20
World Cup.
World Cup. It hosted. Then Morocco also has good facilities. They just need to improve. Algeria. Now coming to South Africa, of course, South Africa had already better facilities. So they only added in $3.5 billion to be perfect and to show that Africa can do it. Now, when you look into that context, the countries which are taking the lead with the facilities is Egypt, Algeria, Tunisia, Morocco, and Nigeria. Those can be in position now, whether it is a joint bid or a single bid, they can be in position.
Okay.
But of course, for Qatar, it has seen very far and put in more resources. But since the South African tournament was a success story, it gives Africa better hope. Okay, and that's why I'm saying we have now a real chance of doing it.
Interesting. UBC Ground Zero, you can reach us on 776-511-426 and share your opinions on how you think we can attain the world-class football teams in Uganda, and what is your opinion and perspectives on the World Cup 2022, which is taking place in Qatar. 776-511-426. In the studios of UBC, I have Dr. Christopher Wanga, the sportsman, former games master, and is also a politician coming from UPC. This is UBC Ground Zero. I'm coming back in a bit.
Welcome to Ground Zero Season 2, a show that brings you in-depth discussion ranging from It's Hot.
We passed it. We didn't know exactly what the problem was on the ground. There is no pretending about the effect of this thing. There's no pretending about it. Nobody showed. It's a problem.
It's balanced.
This is not the stage at which you start planning to tax a commodity like coffee, especially from down there.
It's intellectually engaging.
The Constitution provides that the land must be registered under the customer tenure system, which is one of those that's recognized by the Constitution.
Ground Zero Season 2, live and syndicated on your public and national broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
miss UBC Radio Ground Zero every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We host credible and relevant guests to discuss pertinent issues of national importance aimed at addressing people's concerns.
As a country, if we don't fight this vice of corruption seriously and with honest opinion without any bias, things will not be good for us.
UBC Radio Ground Zero, right here on UBC Radio.
UBC, ensure that the information you give out is factual but also objective, balanced, and complies with the legal and policy requirements for the media.
Ground Zero program is always live, loud and clear, every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on UBC Radio, Butebo FM, West Nile FM, and Magic 100 FM, and live stream on YouTube. You can also listen to the repeated broadcast of UBC Ground Zero every Sunday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. UBC Radio, inspiring Uganda.
Welcome back. Ground Zero Season 2 continues.
Welcome back from that very short break. I'm Paide Amon of Tegra is my name. This is UBC Ground Zero. We're broadcasting live on UBC Radio, UBC Butebo, West Nile FM, and Magic 100 FM. We're also streaming live on YouTube. You just put UBC Ground Zero and you'll be part of this conversation. 776-511-426 is the number that you can call and share your opinions and expectations of World Cup 2022, but also what we need to do to attain the world-class football teams in Uganda. UBC Ground Zero.
Hello.
UBC.
Thank you very much for the program.
Most welcome, sir.
I'm called Henry Baguma.
Yes, sir.
Number one, I think sports, we Uganda we need to go to what we call national, whereby we hold people at the level, clans, drinking, this school, like now UBC versus the other one, listeners, so that everybody participates. Because of the advantage it has. Number one, health way. People can run like what we're going to do tomorrow, name marathon in Kololo. I want also football to go that way, so that it helps us to become healthier people as a population. Number two, sports is uniting the fact. You can imagine now in World Cup in Qatar tomorrow. Those against Russia, against Ukraine tomorrow, we put their anger aside first and watch football together. So then we have supporting some teams, so they will put aside that negative side. So it unites the world. It's one event that brings the whole world together. For me, I'm not looking at who is taking the cup and all that type of thing, but I'm looking at the other effect. Health way makes people become healthier.
Okay.
And then you have talked of trophies, awards. I am thinking Mr. Peter Otai, the way he was talking, is among those to be considered among the people to get the award, maybe among the commentators. Peter Otai has done a lot in terms of bringing new information to the people, bring sports to the people. People when it's at home, they are listening, they are understanding what the game is all about. So the other man, yes, he should get an award, but also Peter Otai should be added on that list.
Okay.
But when in future, when you people begin to go awards, what are the people who we need to bring? Because all of us are participating in different ways. They are the physical players, the 11 players will meet in the ground. Then those who are sending the people, the spectators are also participating. Quite a number of people participating in this game.
Okay.
I think finally it's not about the infrastructure a country has that to go to World Cup. Look at a team like America, USA. How many, can you imagine America against Tunisia? In terms of infrastructure, America has done too much technology and all this. But when it comes to sports, it is the best that wins. Yes, the best idea. Yeah, so one thing Uganda may be there, we shall surprise the world and we shall be there.
Interesting. Most welcome, sir. Thank you for spending time to speak to the people of Uganda on UBC Ground Zero. UBC?
Yes, this is Eddie calling from Boseka.
Your name again?
I'm calling you Eddie, calling from Boseka.
Hey, okay. Your opinion, please?
Anyway, thanks for the program.
Most welcome, sir.
Yeah, so I really want to thank that person there at the studio who is trying to analyze us on Uganda's football. Truly, what I've seen in Uganda, we need the young generation to at least take Uganda somewhere. Because now those old people, let them just be to guide. But for Uganda to qualify, they need at least those young players. Because people now, they're even age. And the tactics of these days, you need at least people whose brain are still hot, who can really cope up with the philosophy of these days. Things are keeping on changing each and every day. Then I want to thank that coach Mitch really is doing well, because I remember in 15 there, I remember they called some match, they played, you want to play with Paul from Teso. And the first time they picked some of the players, I think even one of them, I think Orito was also one of them, the one they picked during that time. If they go to a grassroots, they can pick some good players, and those players can at least do something. But if they remain in towns where I don't see whether football in Uganda will go anywhere, because down there we have really good players.
Interesting.
Down there.
Thank you.
Yeah, then Africa, for us in Africa here, we are not all that united. If you are really united, union always, and they could combine themselves, at least they can bring World Cup here also.
Okay.
But now those people, they're really pulling, they having one side. But in instead of Africa, people have to unite.
Thank you.
So that things can go well.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
UBC Ground Zero, Australia is taken towards attaining world-class football teams in Uganda. We're discussing Uganda football, African football, and alongside World Cup 2022 taking place in Qatar. 776-511-426 is the number to call. UBC, you may call again on 776-511-426. I cut your number. You can call again. I switched. He's calling back. UBC?
Yes, Ampaire, good morning.
A very good morning to you.
You are talking to Juma from Roundabout Butego.
Most welcome.
Thank you. To me, I like the question you put across earlier before to the gentleman in the studio with you there. Leadership side, how do they look at the leadership, okay? What is killing? And I know the submission of that gentleman was saying that some of the stars which are coming from Uganda, when they reach somewhere, they disappear. Now, him as a concerned person, what research have he has already done to make sure to confirm that why they were disappearing? To me, as Juma may say, it is a financial discipline. Because many Ugandans who are youth, they take football as a career, but at the end of the day, you'll find those who are handling finances, offices, they are being messed up. Our netball teams are crying. They are in need of their pay. Up to today, they were not sorted out. What am I saying? Corruption. Juma, I don't like what we call corruption. You know, it is their occupation. It is their professional. Now they're earning from that very event. Now, when they go, they sacrifice to raise the flag of the country, the Uganda as a nation, and then again, when they come back home, they get their energy because their finances have been cut apart.
All right.
So, to me, why they are disappearing, they are not being paid well. Infrastructure is the problem. You are borrowing. Okay, Nambole no more nowadays. I don't know how much sport of FUFA, Ugandan FUFA Federation, are they added something towards St. Mary's Tende, because St. Mary's Tende had came to rescue of Nambole. As Nambole was being helping health sectors when Corona came, Nambole was closed. It became a home for hospital. Then up to today, I don't know how much FIFA had already improved the other side of the
All right.
Transparency is needed. We need leaders who are legible, who can serve the country to the merits of the Wananchi.
All
we don't
right.
want people who go and grow stomach on their self-interest. I thank you so much.
Most welcome, sir, and greetings to the people of Sega. Oh, corruption. Juma says it is corruption. Henry Waguma says sports is a very good thing for the health And Omiedi from Busika says, we the youth, you the young people, need to get involved and participate into the sports industry. My time is fast spent. I may not go beyond this. I see you calling, but if time allows, I will give you a few minutes later on. But allow me go back to the studios. Dr. Ranga, you have heard from the people of Uganda and their concerns in a minute, because our time is fast spent. I need to tackle the Qatar and World Cup. Do you have anything to tell the callers?
I think the callers, I thank them for following the program. And as they followed the program, they are all talking the same language, same things, but using different words. You remember we identified, I told you here, management, whether it requires to acquire an expatriate or expatriates to teach us how to manage things, and they are watertight. We need to do it. When you make the management thorough, it will negotiate with the government on making sports as a physical exercise even for our health, from competitive level even to our health. That goes with the management liaising with the government and making government move a bill through parliament. Magic can work, but it needs lobbying, it needs management. Then of course we hear another call has rooted on the youth. Youth, I have already told you, our focus should be on this under age teams which are delivering.
Okay.
Then of course the other one has talked about corruption or not preparing the team in advance. It all boils back to the management. Yes. And
Doctor, I wanted us to talk about sports and the interconnectedness or the relationship between sports and politics. I see Russia being banned from participating in FIFA and UEFA, even when it hosted the same World Cup, because of its participation or the war it declared on Ukraine. Are we using sports to discipline the politicians, or there is that linkage or relationship between sports and politics?
Actually, your issue you are raising, it can be seen in two ways. Sports is usually used to communicate a message, okay? And that message which it is supposed to communicate, its end product should lead to better results. I can give a very, very good example. When South Africa was very stubborn with her apartheid policies, the only weapon which was got, which could really squeeze South Africa and to think of fine-tuning, were one, sanctions, but South Africa has its heavy industrialization. Sanctions may not bog it down, but they said now we go for sports sanctions.
So we are using sports now as a sanction.
As a sanction to make South Africa improve its political system. So a number of South African teams, you could not compete with them. And indeed, that tension, that attitude continued until South Africa got its independence in 1994. And in 1996, it hosted the Africa Cup of Nations and it won. Then in 2010, it hosted the World Cup, the very one we are talking about, but coming from a background where sports is used.
Do you see that ban that was put on Russia on 28th February? In any way going to discipline Russia and Putin to come down and withdraw from Ukraine?
the bit of disadvantage we have had, I'm giving you a historical perspective where this activity has worked of banning sports. Then I think in 1976 Montreal Olympics, there was also something which was not very clear, and our Olympic team was not supposed to participate because now it was also agreed that we don't go for Olympics in Canada, 1976. Then in 1980, America and Russia had some issues, and the Olympics which were held in Russia were boycotted. Now, to come to this one, it may have been a rushed thing, because the relationship of Ukraine and Russia is so fluid that that it needs some more time to explain it, because in the eyes of Russia.
Doctor, if you may, I may request for some time. I have Oscar online.
Yeah. Okay.
Hello?
Yes, please.
Oscar, you're most welcome to UBC Ground Zero.
Thank you so much. How is Kampala?
Kampala is okay, and UBC, we're proud of you on what you're doing in Western Nile.
Yes, please.
How is Western Nile FM?
Western Nile is doing fantastic. We're actually so ready for the World Cup.
Sure. How prepared are you?
Everything we need is in place. We have the manpower, we have the facility, and the only thing we are only waiting for is just time. I think time is just taking too long to come.
And we're waiting just for hours to start the first match.
Yeah, we're just waiting for hours. We are not now saying 1 day to go. We're just saying hours to go.
We are discussing a very interesting topic.
Yes,
a stride is taken towards attaining world-class football teams in Uganda. What do you think we need to do as a country in order to promote our football in Uganda?
Well, I think, yes, what we can do in this country are quite many. I want to give an example of West Nile, where we have a lot of talents. But more or less, these talents can only benefit from football when they cross to Kampala. So that means there's something that is lacking here. The what we call the pull factors is not here. We said we have push factors instead. So we are thinking with the coming of the Arua Hill Stadium, it's going to create a lot of opportunities, especially for the young people, to have a feel of a professional environment of sports, because it's going to be a sports stadium that has football, netball, athletics, and the rest.
Okay.
Now, we would need the local authorities, the local government, to embrace sports and start looking into the issues of investment. Because if I give an example of Arua, right now, most clubs struggle to even have sports facility, because there are very few playgrounds that can be used. If you, right now, Arua is being occupied by Arua Hill, you find the former Arua Hill playground, that's now where the construction is taking place. Now you have grounds like where Ediofe boys, Ediofe girls, and others have to go as far as Ombachi. Some people even now share football pitch, because those facilities are very few within. The clubs are many, but the facilities to use are very few. Now those are the things that can deter people from expressing themselves and getting interested in coming to develop their talent.
Okay. Media is one of the platforms where sports is always promoted. How are you promoting the domestic, the regional sports, especially in Acholi, West Nile, and Lango sub-regions?
Well, what we are doing here currently is focusing on local content.
Okay.
And most especially here we have people now now compared to those days, people can now consume information and are interested in getting to know what is happening in their lower local leagues. For instance, if they have the regional league that we have,
okay,
you can find the attendance can be in thousands, and that cannot go in vain without thanking the media.
Interesting.
We took a deliberate effort to start selling our local content, praising our local clubs, and making sure people get to understand that the European leagues also started the way we started. So it's good to appreciate where we are, but also focus where we are going.
Interesting.
Yes.
As you prepare yourself to broadcast the World Cup, what is your coverage? Where do you go up to, and where should people expect you, and what is your frequency? And
Our
in which
frequency,
languages are you going to be broadcasting in?
Well, West Nile apparently is so unique that we have we have close to like 6 different languages.
Okay.
But we are going to pick the measure. We are going to pick Alur.
Alur.
Yes, Alur is part of the Luo.
Okay.
Then we are going to pick Lubarati. That's predominantly here in West Nile. A majority, at least, people understand. Then we are also having some people who are multilingual, who can be able to chip a bit of Kakwa, a bit of Madi, then a bit of Du and Kebu. Those are the mixture that we are going to be having.
Okay.
Especially also more so during the time of analysis. We want to break it down.
What are your frequencies? In any chance, can we know the frequencies?
The frequency is 98.0.
98.0.
Yes.
Interesting. Thank you, Oscar, for sparing time to share your views on UBC Ground Zero.
Thank you so much, Amo.
Tell the people of Western Nile that we love them so much.
Okay, please.
Most welcome.
Aye.
That is Oscar, the manager of Western Nile FM, sharing his views on UBC Ground Zero, and I'm proud that you are really giving a good services to the people of Uganda in Western Nile, actually Lango and Teso sub-regions, and you people in that end, please tune in 98.0 FM, and you'll be live on Western Nile FM, and you'll be live in Qatar. UBC?
Yes, sir. This is Henry Baguma once again.
You have 1 minute?
Yeah, 1 minute. I want to say that if not lament, let each Ugandan pick his team of the choice tomorrow, because it's part of entertainment. And my team is England as for now. Thank you.
It is England for now. Interesting. Baguma is for England. We've heard from Oscar, and I didn't get his team, but perhaps later on I'm going to get the team of Doctor. Doctor, let's now talk about FIFA World Cup 2022 in Qatar. What are those unique things or great things that we have already observed in World Cup of 2022 in Qatar? 7 stadiums, well established.
Of course, there are 8.
Qatar ready to go. First time in Arab.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Of course, the stadiums are 8. 7 of them very, very new. And
all the 7
one
are new.
Has been expanded. But those stadiums have one uniqueness. They are all found in a radius of 50 kilometers. This is roughly from Kampala to slightly after Jinja. This has never been in any World Cup. This is the first time we are having such a nature of stadium, and to connect from one stadium to another stadium to the last one, you can't take more than 1 hour. Or if it is match, it is about 1:15. So there is even a possibility that any football diehard can physically attend 2 games in different stadiums because they are very near. So they are very near each other. This is indeed a very unique way. Then the other thing also, which is very unique, of course, the season by which they are going to play this game.
Winter, not summer.
Yes. And it is coming in the midst of the various leagues. So it brings in a challenge that as a team they have not focused properly, because most of them by last weekend they were playing in various leagues across the world. So literally they have had only 1 week of preparation. That means they have not been prepared properly. But FIFA realized the challenge, that the challenge has been caused by COVID, and created an enabling environment from the provisional squad of 32 players, they were allowed to have a provisional squad of 55. Now, the final squad, of which used to be 23, was added on to have 26 players who can be in the squad. Then also, it was upgraded from having 3 substitutes to 5 substitutes in all the games which don't go extra.
Okay.
But if the game is to go extra minutes, the 30, you are allowed to bring a 6 substitute. So this is giving them a bit of room to maneuver. Unfortunately, most of the teams outside Europe, they have lacked an opportunity to play against European competitors, to all non-competitors, to get the feel of how they play, the sort of tactics which have changed.
Interesting.
Because Europe was having another tournament which was going on as the UEFA League. That meant that you could not play
Union
that
of
opposition.
European Football Association.
Yes.
Interesting. Doctor, can FIFA ban a country from participating, as in, like we see players misbehaving, you're already there, like those countries that have already qualified.
Yes.
But you do a slight mistake and maybe you cross the lines and you are banned from participating. Like a player can be given red card.
Come again.
Can a country be banned from participating in FIFA, even when it has already qualified? In case the players misbehave or what? Do they punish the players or the country?
I really am not understanding your question. Is misbehaving on the field or misbehaving in your country
in the field already, those who have already qualified, like those who are already in Qatar.
Yes.
Under what circumstances can a country be banned from not participating?
When you're already in Qatar,
that, yes.
When you're already in Qatar, you cannot be banned. But there are some technical rules, okay, which says that a team cannot play if they are not more than, if they are not, is it 7 players?
Okay.
On a pitch, you must be a minimum. There is
even when the players misbehave?
There is a minimum number of players who must be on the pitch.
Interesting.
And that minimum number is either 7 or 8. I will need to cross-check it somewhere. Okay.
Now that Uganda has not qualified,
yes,
why should Ugandans be bothered or more interested in World Cup 2022?
You see, this football is a funny thing. Some even equate it to as if the way it captures you, it is as if it is a religion. Others equate it as if it is food. You are going to find that Ugandans across the spectrum, each one is having a team.
Baguma is already for England.
Yes, each one is having a team. And it is automatic for Ugandans to support African teams, but on top of that, they have other teams.
Interesting.
Okay.
All
so
right.
the football is global, and we are living in a global
village
field. And the football has generated global brands, such that when you walk along the streets of Uganda, you will find people putting on Cristiano Ronaldo t-shirts.
Thank you, Doctor. Our time is fast spent. Your last, maybe if I may ask you, what is your team in World Cup?
My team in the World Cup, I usually have 2. That is Cameroon and Germany.
German?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
I'm going to keep an eye on the 2. Thank you, Doctor, for sharing your views on UBC Ground Zero. Our time is fast spent. We cannot go beyond this very minute. Ampaire Amon Butego is my name. It has been so good that you've been with us from the time we started. Those who are on radio and online, I want to thank you, all the callers. I want to thank you, Doctor. for sparing time to come, and greetings to the people of UPC and from the entire team of UBC. We wish you all the best. We wish you good moments in this World Cup festival, and we promise to, as Tai said, we promise and we deliver. All the 11 radio stations are going to be broadcasting in different local languages to make sure that you get a World Cup in full swing. And even those who would love to watch, there is UBC, TV and Star and many others. Please spare time to be part of this entertaining event taking place in Qatar. Until next time, from all of us at UBC, wish you all the best. And Paide Amon of Tiger is my name for good and my country. Allow me now to sign out.
That was Ground Zero Season 2, a production of Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, UBC, inspiring Uganda. Welcome back. Ground Zero Season 2.
UBC Radios brings you one-of-a-kind World Cup experience starting from the 20th of November to the 18th of December 2022. Don't miss all the goals, the misses, the analysis, and the best commentaries in your local language.
World Cup is in Qatar 2022. Doha, Doha,
UBC Radio, UBC Butebo, UBC Ngeya, UBC Totore, UBC West Nile, UBC Bundibujo, UBC Buluri, UBC Mega FM, Magic FM, UBC West, and Star FM have got you all covered for all the 64 games live. Ha ha ha! UBC Radios, inspiring Uganda.
Come to Doha, come to Qatar. World Cup is in Qatar.
UBC Radios FIFA 2022 Qatar World Cup Update.
Hello and welcome to our World Cup fixtures on UBC Radios. On the 25th of November 2022, Wales goes against Iran at 1 p.m. at Al Rayyan Stadium. Then we see hosts Qatar going against Senegal at 4 p.m. at Al Thumama Stadium. Netherlands then comes through, versing Ecuador at 7 p.m. at Khalifa International Stadium. And the final match of the day sees England versing United States of America at 10 p.m. at Al Bayt Stadium. Let the best team win and enjoy your World Cup 2022.
That was UBC Radio's FIFA 2022 Qatar World Cup Update. UBC Radio's FIFA 2022 Qatar World Cup Update.